Hello everyone, happy Tuesday. Shalom, dear friends. Hope this week has been peaceful for you. Hope you've had a peaceful start. I have been doing some handwork sewing, and of course I do my best thinking and praying while I am doing handwork. What I'm actually doing, and I thought I'd just have you sit down with me, maybe grab a cup of tea. I have mine over here to keep it away from dresses, but grab a cup of tea and come sit with me. Today I was thinking of talking about our word of the year and kind of do a check-in and see how you are doing. But while I'm doing that, I am beading something for a dress to fill in some areas that she wants to have filled in. A lot of times I'll sew them in and then I'll do the beading, but with this one I want her to be able to come to an appointment here in a few days, and then if I need to adjust it or anything, sew it real quick while she runs errands in town and then get the dress back to her. So the beading I'm trying to do ahead of time so that when I put this on, if I need any adjustments, I just do that really quick and send her on her way. So I'm just sitting here beading all day. What I've got, this is how I bead. I've got all these beads that through the years of doing alterations, I've put them all in different little containers. Actually, I had a wonderful employee that took this challenge on at first and sat there. I had drawers and drawers and drawers of beads, and she painstakingly took tweezers and separated all my beads into all kinds of different things. My biggest fear is that I won't get that lid on tight and I'll spill it and have to do it all over again. I've got all different kinds of containers of all different kinds of beads. But then I'll just take what I need for the project and I put a pinch in just a paper plate, and that way my needle, I can use my needle to just pick up what I need. So amazing that some of these beads are so close, but one will have silver and one won't. And then I've got the ones that are like the pearls, which some of their holes, like that one, the hole is not working. Plus it would help if I had my glasses on to see that. There we go, because they're so tiny. But I just love to sew it. But what I'm really on here is not a sewing tip or anything. I just thought I'd bring you along while I just sit and do a little bit of this. I'm talking about word of the year. We are about 6 weeks into the new year, and how are you guys doing? Did you do a word of the year this year? If so, how is your studying going for that? Are you listening to God and finding out, is he speaking to you? I told you guys in another video that I picked my word quite late, like right as we crossed into the new year, and I held off and I chose the word trust, which I'm telling you, that's been a hard word. And I think I knew what my word was months before that, and I just didn't want to do the work for trust. Whenever I allow God to help me pick out a word for the year, I know he's going to do a work in me. And so some of those works are painful, and it's all for my good. He does a great job of, just helping me each year to get a little closer to him and to clean out some of the yuck out of my past, or, some of my not so great qualities. He helps me clean those out. And I'm realizing, which I always thought, that trust would be something I was good at, because you know how many times I've stepped out in faith and I started the business and I even searched God's heart for when I needed to close the business. And I've done, I've gotten really good, through the years, not my beginning years, of really relying on God and listening for God and following Him. And so to me, that's like part of trust. So I'm kind of surprised that I'm not good with trust. But then I was realizing this year, need a few more beads. Then I was realizing this year that there are a lot of areas that I trust Him fully on. And, and then there's a lot of areas that I have become quite independent in. So He has been slowly revealing that to me, and doing some work in me. And it's a bit painful, but it's really, really good and necessary. So I just wanted to chit chat with you. How are you guys doing? I don't always do, if you haven't picked a word of the year yet, it's not too late. You never have to have a certain timeline with God. You can choose it now and do it for a year from this point on. You could do it all summer long. You could do it starting in the spring. I have always chosen my word of the year at the end of my bridal season. So I used to, about September, October, I slow down and I think about my next word. So often I have always done my word of the year in September, October. This was the first year I went back to January because I could not come up with my word. So after I choose my word prayerfully, and it takes me months of just listening and opening up the Bible and trying to see what words keep coming up and what God happens to be working on in my life, then I look for that every time. And I've been going through Psalms. I've been walking through the Psalms and just finding great passages where, and I'm finding words that relate to my word. So like here in Psalms 34, I had already highlighted trust, because like in Psalms 34:8, it says, "Taste and see that the Lord is good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in Him." And I'm learning that taking refuge is also trusting, which a couple years ago my word was abide. That also is take refuge. And then if you go down to verse 22, it's the Lord will rescue His servants. No one who takes refuge in Him will be condemned. And I put trust, I wrote trust in my Bible there. This is a great passage because I also, anytime I find the word peace, I have always been on a pursuit, at least the last 10 years, very strongly for peace and shalom. And I know that where it says peace in my Bible in the Old Testament, in the Hebrew, it's written shalom. So the word peace I always highlight in blue. But I just wanted to chat with you guys. If this is the first time doing word of the year, maybe you don't know what to do now. I chose my word, now what do I do? You do things like look it up in the dictionary and then look it up in the biblical dictionary. You'll get a different definition. You can do that on Google. You'll look in the back of your Bible in the concordance and look up all the words trust, and then look for words that connect to it. So like take refuge is a big one for trust. There's probably some other words that I need to explore. And then I just write those down in my journal here. And I'm not in a hurry. I don't have like a schedule. I just, I might spend a week or two on one thought and think on that for a long time and then just listen to God. So tell me in the comments, if you chose a word of the year, what's your word? What have you learned from your word of the year? If you haven't chose one, tell me, are you planning on choosing one? You could go into my other videos and you'll see I have some other stuff on word of the year, and I broke down a few of my journals. So I went through, when I first started the word of the year, some of the words that I chose were like rebuild and renew. No, I didn't do renew. I did, now I can't remember, but I know I did faith. I know I did debt. But then I found the word shalom, and then I've done that for, I think, 5 or 6 years. So then I had subwords to go with that, like abide and love. And last year was freedom. And this year my subword is trust. So I just want to encourage you, don't give up. We're 6 weeks in to the new year of 2021. And that tends to be when we will kind of like give up our New Year's resolutions. You know, 1st of January, we have these thoughts like last year didn't pan out the way I wanted to. So this year I'm going to be more organized. This year I'm going to spend more time with the hubby. This year I'm going to, you know, fill in the blank to 100 different things. I'm going to lose some weight. I'm going to exercise. If you've fallen off that bandwagon, don't be discouraged. So has everybody else in America or across the country, or the world, I'm sure. So don't be discouraged. Reevaluate. This is a good time. We're 6 weeks in. It's a good time to stop and think, how am I doing on that? Can I make a new plan? Can I readjust the old plan? Can I give myself some grace and forgiveness? I haven't done a huge amount of studying on trust. I have been slow and steady. You know, I was talking, I think last week or the week before, about I had kind of written out what I felt like I was having a hard time trusting God with. And I wrote just one item. I planned on doing a whole list. And the one item, which was, you know, my children's future, I ended up just sitting with that for 2 weeks and trying to listen to God and not hearing anything. You can see my video on hearing from God and how I struggled with that. But then I realized that not hearing from God, I just need to trust Him. It's this vicious circle. So, you know, there's so many great words, but they're not meant to be something that you kind of like a mantra where you just repeat it over and over again and somehow it's going to manifest. I don't like that word. It's not part of, you know, a Christian's vocabulary, but so many people are using it. But this is not the name it and claim it. This is not the, I used to think that when I wanted to have peace or rest as my word, I was like, I want to choose a word that will give me peace and rest. What I didn't realize was God was going to give me one of the hardest years, that first year of Shalom, to show me that having peace in the midst of a storm is His idea of Shalom. It's connecting to Him. It's learning to be sitting in a boat with a storm and waves and wind all the way around you, and realizing that God's got this. He's in the boat and He's going to protect us. And even though it feels like He's sleeping and ignoring it, if you've ever heard that story of the disciples in the boat, that's a really good one. But sometimes life feels like that. Like, hello, God, are you sleeping? Did you see the storm and all the winds? Did you see that we're about to drown? Did you see that we're going under? That was my first year of Shalom. And so if you choose a word, or if you chose a word and you're realizing this is my year is like the opposite of what my word is. If you chose peace and you've had more turmoil this year than ever before, just know that's how it works in God's economy, because what He's teaching you is that you need to rely on Him. He's telling you that you need to, maybe there's, you have a deficit in this area. You know, my word trust, I knew if I chose that word, He was going to work a little bit in me and make me figure out how to trust Him in the midst of a storm, how to trust him on some areas that I don't see him answering prayers. That's where it's hard. That's where it's really, really hard. So please chat with me. Tell me if you've got a word, and tell me how the first 6 weeks of the year is going, or if you chose your word earlier this year, how's that going? And what is God teaching you? What verses has he brought to your attention? What passages in the Bible? What Bible stories? I don't know. There's a lot of people nowadays doing Word of the Year, and that wasn't the case when I started doing my Word of the Year. I started doing it because of a Guidepost article, and she was a Christian, and she used it for God to teach her more in the Word. And now people pick it almost like it's going to save them, or it's going to protect them that year. I'm choosing a word of security or, peace. I don't know how people do it who don't know God, because for me, the word ends up to be a year that I grow. It's growth in me, and it's stretching me. It's learning to do things that the year before I was afraid to do. And so, the year I chose faith, I had to hang on to my faith through some pretty hard times. And then there's words like, I did have, my very first word was debt. And it was my focus that I wanted to get out of debt. And so that word did help me constantly come back to, I've got debt, I've got to pay it off. But it also helped me dig into the word and find out that how much of my debt to sin, my debt to just the fact that I've messed up, and Christ paid that for me. So that word debt not only gave me focus for that, but it also helped me do some healing and learn that God loved me. Later on, I would do the word love, and that was me learning how much God loves me and how to love other people. So anyways, I just thought I would chat with you. I wish you could talk through the camera. I wish you could tell me, I wish I could hear your voice, but maybe I can in the comments. If you can give me a comment and just tell me how you're doing. I am looking forward to spring, I'll tell you that. We still have snow on the ground, and I had just told my mother-in-law, because she's going to be moving up here this spring, that don't worry about the snow here in Idaho, because usually if it snows in the morning, you'll wake up to it and it'll be gone by noon, maybe a day or two. And the weather made a liar out of me today, so I don't know what to do. So anyway, I've got to get back to finishing this so that it's ready for the bride to come meet me. I thought I'd just kind of let you see what I do, but obviously I can't talk and bead at the same time. Although I do miss the days when we used to have a sewing group when I was in my early 20s, and it was at the church, and we would just all bring our sewing machines down, and we would be sewing while we're chatting. Now, I don't know if we got a lot done. Actually, we did. We got some projects done, but we would let the kids play and all that kind of stuff. And those were good times. So, since now we are in a virtual world, you guys are my friends, and I have to talk to a camera and hope that you guys are hearing me, and hope you'll talk back. And I do love those of you who have talked with me. Thank you so much, and reached out. I've loved studying the Word with you. I've loved just getting to know some of you that have reached out and emailed me. I'll try to put my email also in the description. Often I forget to put that in there, but would love to hear you on our page. And once again, I'll try to do some more sewing stuff. But on Friday, we are studying our Gospels. And so I'll be doing that video and getting that up on Friday morning. So until the next video, hope you have a wonderful week, a peaceful week, a week filled with shalom. And love you so much. Have a great week. Bye. Shalom.